Big breaking news coming on the broadcast. An evacuation bus was targeted in Kyiv. Now this after a ceasefire was announced. Visuals on your screens there of the bus that was shelled. Now according to the Ukrainian authorities, now they have claimed that Russian troops shelled an evacuation bus and villages in the Kyiv region. 3 people are wounded in that attack. That's the latest news that we're getting to you right now.
Massive development really, Crispino, that we are seeing now. An evacuation bus has been targeted by the Russian troops. Of course, we will have to wait for the official reports of this, but we have seen how this bus has been targeted. This comes in the backdrop of the humanitarian corridors that were being promised by Russia, and also the diplomatic talks that are all set to also take place and escalate further between Ukraine and Russia. And on the ground now, we're seeing that Russian troops are not only targeting residential blocks, as they had promised that they will not be doing so, but also targeting the civilians that are being evacuated from Ukraine in buses. And the latest images, viewers, are of this bus, in fact, that we're putting out, that had been targeted by the Russian troops, where civilians had been trying to evacuate with.
As Moscow continues its bid to break into Ukraine's capital, the people are stepping up humanitarian efforts in Kyiv. Ukrainians in the country's capital set up a field kitchen in the city to provide warm food for the army, hospitals and civilians. The scent drifts well beyond the checkpoint near the road as men and women stir soup and porridge in the field kitchen. It grew from a small tent to a large camp operated by dozens of volunteers who want to contribute in fighting Russians. A woman identified only as Oksana, whose husband is fighting in the Ukrainian army, said the kitchen duty gives her a way to avoid the latest developments. While soldiers are protecting their country on the front line, those who come back for a break can refill their stocks of cans at the field kitchen set up by civilians. Agency report for Republic TV. We at Republic TV have the largest war reporting team on ground in Ukraine and NATO nations.
Well, definitely, and Crispino, Donetsk has been at the epicenter of the entire escalation as well. Let's take a look at these ground reports from central Donetsk.
Yes, this is Ukraine's biggest downfall as far as the locals here in Donetsk feel. And really common sense entitles. Russia and the local authorities here in Donetsk and Lugansk has been pushing on Ukraine to recognize these territories, or at least give them some sort of special recognition, maybe even still in Ukraine. But in 2014, when these locals made their borders, this is when the war started. This is when the original war and the invasion of these areas took place from Ukraine territory. The fact is, if Ukraine would have recognized these areas as somewhat independent and stopped the attacks on these areas, Ukraine would not be in the situation it is now.